Now, at Bohemian Grove, the first thing I saw was men. Now, everybody must know that Bohemian Grove is just a big pedophile satanic ritual abuse orgy. That's all it is. It's a big party. They, you've seen footage by Alex Jones where they say, oh, it's just burning an effigy of a human to Moloch. Well, politicians, world leaders, dressing up in robes and pretending to sacrifice a human being to a statue of Moloch now, that's weird. That has to be questioned. And you've got evidence of that. You've got video evidence of that. So, but what I did was I was taken over there, and first thing I saw was a bunch of guys in like black Ku Klux Klan style robes, and they murdered someone. They had someone hung up, and they murdered someone. And then I remember a few other things. There was a teddy bear. We were dressed as teddy bears and put in the forest and in dark, and they did this hunting rape game, which they love. They love these hunting games, like Hunger Games. And us kids were dressed up. Well, they couldn't find me because I was really good at hiding. So they didn't find me for ages. But the other kids they found and raped. And they had, that music, if you go down in the woods today, da-da-da, and that the Teddy Bear's Picnic music was playing on loudspeakers really creepily in the dark, and we were told, run and hide,
Mass rituals. That's how they celebrate Halloween. So these main events, because they are events on their calendars that go on inside these walls, were called hunting games and large mass rituals. Queen Elizabeth is the head of the Freemasons. The Freemasons are a shop front for satanic ritual abuse. Hunting games. Let me tell you how they play hunting games. Many children are brought in for this, van loads. In the 70s, they were brought in from children's homes. They were brought in from the satanic families, like the one that I grew up in. We would be held captive, I never know how long, days, hours, depending on when we arrived and when the games would begin. We would all be taken out of captivity, stripped naked. The only thing we were allowed to wear was a wristband. That wristband told the elites, the Satanists, whether they could kill us or they have to leave us alive. That was it. Each Satanist, royal family members, lords, elites of this country, some of them like to chase the children that they can kill. Some of them like to chase the children that are left alive. Because I was raised in a satanic family, I got the wristband that said they were never allowed to kill me. Yeah, thank God for that. We would stand around. It was an automatic thing for the older children, and I classed myself, as the years went on, as an older child, so I would have been 6, 7, 8 years old. As an older child, we would then take the hands of the little ones. The little ones that were there, 3 years old, their first time being brought in for a hunting game. Stay on the pavement, guys. First time being brought in for a hunting game. Of course, they were terrified. They were already crying. Us older kids, we knew. We were trained by now. We never made a sound that would go off. It was the sound of a bugle. We'd be given our wristbands, the older kids. We'd take the hands of the little kids who would be crying and breaking. And then we would wait. We would wait for the sound of the bugle. I think that's the same sound they sound when they go off on a fox hunt, isn't it? Yeah. It's a hunting game. They don't just hunt foxes, they hunt children. The sound of the bugle meant we could run. Us older kids, we knew that it was futile. We knew there was no point. But the terror that runs through our veins, that makes your blood run cold, would send us running as fast as we could, holding the hands of the little ones, trying to save them from the terror that we knew was about to happen. The women would watch on. Seems it was a man's sport in there. The women would watch on and clap and cheer, whilst their men then chased us. Naked children with wristbands on. The women would watch on while their men hunted, raped and murdered the children. What I remember very clearly is the children with the wristbands like myself that were left alive. We were very, very few in comparison. We were probably 1 in 10. And my memory is that when the hunting games were over and the bugle sounded again, I knew that my orders, my instructions were to work my way back, walk back to where we started from. And I would have to walk over the dead bodies. The blood was everywhere. Some children that they murdered weren't quite dead, and they were left wriggling and suffering. They're the reason I'm back here. They're the ones that haven't got their voices. They're the ones that were silenced forever. And I just want to remind you about what I said at the beginning. If you think this is hard to hear, I want you to imagine what it's like for these children to live through. And if at the end of this, all you civil servants in your uniforms want to continue protecting them, then I hope it fucking haunts you in your nightmares. In hunting games, the comfort that we took, the older children, that all we would have to endure was just being raped by one person, one man. And in comparison, by what goes on in rituals, where we are raped by 10, 20, 30 people in the space of an evening, the hunting games was a fucking doddle. We weren't tortured in the hunting games. How horrific does it need to be that we could comfort ourselves with the very thought that, oh, we'll only be raped once by one person and then we'll be left alone? So the worst memories for me was watching the little ones, because they always had the wristbands. And I knew that how they were going to end up. And I knew that they were going to be the dead bodies on the floor with the blood pouring out of them that I would have to tread over in the end to get back to the starting line. Blood drinking. A child will be laid out. They will be cut on the side of the throat and they will bleed out. But before that child is cut and bled out, they will be tortured. They will be tortured and brought to a point of such heightened terror that their blood is adrenalized, filled with adrenaline. It's called adrenochrome. And every single one of these scum drink it. Every single one of these people drink it.
Are there people in the Republican Party who think we're sucking the blood out of kids?
I'm not sure. Are there people in the Democratic?
And that's why they start to chant, because they start drinking the adrenalized blood.
I mean, QAnon. The idea that the Democrats or the Biden is hiding people and sucking the blood of children and no, I'm serious.
I think all children should be eaten at birth. That's for sure.
The Queen and Prince Philip are not human.
No.
I have been mocked, I've been laughed at, I've been attacked, I've been through every single thing you can imagine by trying to get this truth out there. I couldn't give a flying fuck what you react like. I am going to tell you the truth.
Yes!
They are reptilians. They shapeshift from human form into lizard form. I saw this with my own eyes many, many times. And trust me when I tell you, they are the most evil creatures that you could possibly imagine on this planet. When I was taken out for rituals in this place, these places, the Queen would come out last because she was the master of ceremonies. Just like she leads this country, and Prince Philip is always second, she would come out last. She was the master of ceremonies. And she would walk out, and there would be a glitching process that goes on. And she would turn around and stare me straight in the eyes if it was my turn on the concrete slab. And she would make me watch her change. Her face would change first. She would turn and look at me and make me stare her in the face while she glitched and went from human form to reptilian form. Then she would turn around so I could just see the back of her, and this was the same routine every single time. She would then change in physical form and she would become very, very tall. I can't tell you how tall, I don't know, but very, very tall. Very tall and very thin. Prince Philip would already be in reptilian form. I never saw him change from human to reptilian. I just used to see him change back, but it was all about her. She would come out and everybody had done the blood drinking and she would then change. She would glitch. Everything you think you know to be true is a lie.
What have you seen the royal family do, the Queen Mother, and the other people you've seen in the rituals? What have you seen them do?
I've seen all of them drink human blood and consume human flesh, and they have their own goblets in which they have blood, and these goblets are encrusted with jewels, and they also have their own daggers, and that the dagger goes into the goblet and they stir the blood around with it, and it's also a what it is, it's a symbol of the phallus going into the vagina when they're doing this. And I've seen them do this, and some of them have even, like the Queen Mother I saw with, she had her own little, it would, like almost, it's between a very elaborate ornate chair or a throne kind of thing brought in for her to sit. And because before these rituals actually start, there is a kind of people move around the room and talk, or recognize one another. It's a formal kind of a ritualistic setup, the way they talk and the way they introduce each other. It's like a court.
What are they wearing?
They're wearing robes. They're not wearing anything underneath the robes, and the robes are very ornate. They all have, the one thing in common they have is they have red color like blood, and some of them have purple, and they have gold kinds of lines running through them. They have the Merovingian symbol of France, the fleur-de-lis, and there are jewels that are sewn in at certain points on these robes, and they wear these robes, but they don't wear anything underneath the robes, because what is going to happen, what the rituals are all about, they're going to shapeshift, and they can't have anything on under the robes. And there are orgy kind of things that go on at the rituals also. And
involving the royal family of Britain?
Yes, involving the royal family of Britain, and the sacrifice and the eating of, consuming the sacrifice, and they are involved in that.
You've seen them do that?
Yes, I have seen them do that.
People in Britain, listening to what you're saying, would obviously be staggered, I guess anywhere in the world, but what would stagger them mostly is, in Britain, the Queen Mother has an image of being the nation's grandmother, the nice old lady, and good old Queen Mum, what a lovely lady. What's your experience of the Queen Mother?
She is very cold in reality, and she is very cruel, and she is very different than she comes across to the public. She's cold-blooded. If she feels that you are someone beneath her, even in the Illuminati, that you're at her equal or your station is above her, she will not speak to you, she will not recognize you. She obviously, from what I see, enjoys consuming human flesh. It's sickening. The one person that she seems to be afraid of is Pindar.
People would also look at the Queen Mother's elderly, frail stature and find it very difficult to see her taking part in rituals and doing anything, if you like, active. Do they go into a different state in terms of age and strength and all these other attributes when they actually shapeshift?
Yes, the human body that they choose to occupy or take when it was young, it ages, but when they take the reptilian form, these reptilians live hundreds of years, and so they have to have taken more than one human body to live in. A lot of them are much, much older, and I'm including the Queen Mother in this, and older than people think that she is. She's been in more than one body, human form. And when the time comes, if it is time for her to go on, it has been chosen that she still has, it's known that she still has life or years to go, again, she will be put into the body, the essence of her, and the reptilian form will go, or the essence of her will go into another body that is also has the ability to shapeshift into reptilian form.
One of the pure reptilian human bloodlines.
Yes.
What happens when, take the Queen Mother as an example, what happens when they shapeshift? I mean, what do you see?
You start to see changes happen, and they're happening so fast that it's almost, it's the closest thing that I've seen to it is what they're now doing with computer technology. It's just a literal transformation that happens very quickly, and they get taller and they get bigger, and they don't look at all as reptilians like they do as humans. And thus the wearing of the robes, because if they were in clothes, the clothes would be torn apart.
So let's take the Queen Mother on this subject as an example. We recognize her as a frail old lady. What does she look like when she shapeshifts at these rituals?
She has, she looks like, the nose portion gets very much longer, and it grows into kind of a snout kind of thing. She has little fangs, and incisors as teeth, and there's a tongue. They all seem to have this kind of tongue when they're at this level. The tongue has a lot of long, hairy or pointed projections coming out of it. It's very long. And they have these, they don't have hands or feet, they have these claws. And they have scales, and also scales that seem to kind of disappear into one another, but it's more pronounced on the back. There seem to be lumps or protrusions coming from the head. There seem to be some kind of growth appendages at where, on the back, and they seem folded, and not all of them have that. And there is a tail, and they a lot of times will keep the tail curled, and and I've seen her when she's very displeased with something, as I've seen other members like this. This tail is whipped around, very agitated, and they do, and she hisses.
What color are they?
Which one in particular?
Take the Queen Mother as an example.
She's kind of a beige color on the underside, and by the time you're going up around to the back and the tail and the top of the head and on top of the nose, snout, whatever, it's coming to a very, they're dark speckles or large speckles of dark browns. And the eyes, usually, they're large, they look like, they're very round, and they look like they're coming out of their sockets, and very protruding, and usually the color ranges from a beige to a gold to a dark greenish gold, and then there's this dark slit up and down, a vertical slit, and and the eyes will look hooded, and when they look hooded, it's a very frightening thing, because it seems that when the eyes are hooded, they're about to do something.
What do you mean by hooded?
The lids come down, and it's almost, I guess it would be the same thing in a human as an expression of someone's got an idea.
And how tall are they when they shapeshift?
They're just about 7 feet tall. Some are a little shorter, or to a foot shorter. Some are a little bit taller than 7 feet.
So what would the Queen and Prince Charles look like in their reptilian form?
As to height?
As to general appearance?
Charles resembles in both ways, in human form and in in Reptilian, he resembles Pindar. He's shorter, though, in Reptilian form than Pindar. But the way that the Reptilian, the nose shapes into the snout at that point, and the jaw becomes the underpart. It's very much like Pindar, and his mother doesn't look quite the same as he does.
But what does the Queen look like?
The Queen, she's darker, not quite so pale. She's darker. All over, she doesn't have the amount of I would call it freckling. It's more like a gradual, like the skin is gradually getting darker. It's more smooth. And she does have the lumps up around her head and down the tail, the spine. Charles has the tails down around the spine, and funny enough, he has the protrusions from the skull in the reptilian form, where about or above, right above where it seems like his ears would have been.
What is it about the rituals that allow the shape-shifting to happen?
When the victims are starting to be sacrificed, it's the scent of the blood, and they start shape-shifting at that point in time, and they can hardly wait to get to the blood. It's like they're addicted to the blood, and then the consumption of human flesh that follows.
What have you seen the Queen or any of the royal family do in relation to that? Have you seen them sacrifice and consume human flesh?
There are certain times when they will actually do a sacrifice, or there will have been someone doing a sacrifice, and it's not happening fast enough for them. So they will step in and finish it themselves, because the ritual has to be gone through. It's sacrificially, ritualistically, it has to have been gone through, and they will step right in and just start tearing the throat out, and they're getting all this blood from the jugular vein at the same time, and that has happened when there are many there that are going to be sacrificed, and they just can't wait, and tearing into the contents of the abdomen and stomach of a victim afterwards.
Who have you seen do that?
I've seen the Queen Mother do that, and Prince Philip and Charles. I've seen Guy de Rothschild do this. It seems that I've seen it more among royalty, or so-called royalty, do this than people that are not titled. That they don't seem to. They seem like it feels like they don't dare, but they shapeshift nonetheless. But it's like the royals that step in and just start tearing away, as they can hardly wait.
How long can they hold the reptilian form in these occasions?
During the rituals, it's much easier for them to hold their reptilian form. They can stay in that form. What it is that they have a hard time holding their human form. And as long as they're around blood and the scent of blood, they can't hold human form.
Right. When we got to the moon, we found out a lot of surprises, okay? The Draco reptilians were already there. And we knew because we had probes when we went, non-manned probes that we sent around the moon. So we knew there were facilities on the backside. We knew a whole lot that people didn't talk about. But we were in a position where this moon is not a moon, okay? It's not your moon in the first place. Actually, this is not your planet. This is their laboratory, okay?
Right. Okay, the Dracos, you mean, or the Reptilians?
Draco reptilian / reptilian.
And I'm going to ask you what they all look like and all that, you know, at some point.
Okay.
Because I know. Okay, let's get to when it was. Was it Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, and he said that thing that you heard him say, and Michael wants to get real specific about this. So basically, there were 7 huge craft there, and you said on one of the shows out there, you said that the reptilians actually showed up beneath their craft, and they gave the finger.
Okay, they were parked around the side of the crater. Yeah. Okay, they were not parked on it; they were floating above it. Okay, yeah. So there were hundreds of these 9-foot reptilian guys standing with their legs.
Hundreds.
Yeah, they were all the way across the underneath their vehicles.
Okay,
standing
so
on the crater.
Feet, and what do they look like?
They're ugly-looking lizard, alligator type people. They got the same skin as the lizards got, okay? And terrible looking faces. But then they have the ability to shift and look like a human. All of them do, okay?
Okay, do you think von Braun was a reptilian?
No.
You really don't?
No.
Okay.
Your president, yes.
Oh, what? Which one? George Bush Sr.? Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Bill Clinton and this guy you got just got rid of. Yeah.
Yeah.
They all were.
Right.
Okay. So, and they all have this ability to make themselves look like real good-looking people.
And you're saying Trump isn't one?
No, he's not. Okay.
Well, that's a relief.
And and he knows more about this subject than people realize.
Oh, excellent. You know that reptilians and Draco, the blood sacrifices, the whole Luciferian thing, the kids being killed and eaten. I mean, that humans have been eaten and taken off planet, et cetera, and used for slaves in other colonies, etc.
I hate to say that, but that's far worse than what you've just said.
It's far worse.
Yes, far worse.
Far worse, yeah.
And that the whole blood situation is it's unbelievable. And
right.
I don't know how we say that to the public. I don't know how. Well, wait a minute, just a second. On that part of this whole subject, to me, if we get into that, and I know all about it, okay?
All right.
Far more than you know.
Sure,
all right?
I'm sure.
When we get into that, if we release it, 70-80% of everybody that listens to your program is going to say, you're smoking pot. I don't believe that, and I don't believe anything you people talk about on extraterrestrial. And it's going to kill what disclosure is trying to do. That's my opinion.
But you know the pedophilia is starting to be exposed everywhere. You know that much is coming out.
Oh, yeah. But you know the part that I don't want to talk about.
I hear you.
Okay?
Yeah. Saying as much as you said right now is actually great.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because you basically are, anyone who's hearing everything else you say is going to have to come to home with this. And if they want to know more, it's out there. It's more and more, it's out there.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to speak for Bob, but Bob Wood, Dr. Wood, who's worked with me on my book, okay?
Yes.
He's a genius. If we were in the conference room and we were talking and there was a big table there, he would have his fist like this and he would slam that table. I want every GD thing exposed. I want it all
Good
out.
for him. That's lovely to hear.
And I have to say, I'm having a hard time disagreeing with him, but
well, we could do another interview on that subject so that, you know, this one, it goes out, because I know you really want this information out. You want people to start to wake up, and we don't want to turn them off to any...
We don't want, you just said it, we don't want them to be turned off. We don't want them to not believe what's being said, okay?
I know, but
and this,
yeah, it's...
and some, we can get into it partially, but I'm saying, I personally don't want to be involved in doing what Bob wants to do. It's too heavy. I think it's going to really hurt getting more people to get involved in this subject. Okay, they're going to say that Bill Tompkins is smoking pot. I don't believe one damn word. I don't want to hear about any of this. Okay,
yeah.
I don't want to hear about it.
I understand. Let me say, because I have interviewed people about these subjects and dealt with this and Mark Richards is very open about it.
Yeah.
Interestingly, but he's in prison, and so they think he's got plausible deniability, says no one's going to believe someone who's in prison. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that's how they allow that to happen. But I do want to say my philosophy on this, which is humans are not protecting themselves. They're not protected. And so if you don't warn them, you're culpable. The next time somebody gets snatched and eaten or taken away, or their child, and I'm more concerned about the children, obviously, than anything else.
That's
you know.
That's it. That's what.
And so that's my statement. My statement is, I care about the children, and I want to protect the children. How can you protect a child? You must tell them. You must tell their parents what's happening, what's really going on this planet, and it's about time we humans are able to protect ourselves. There's a lot of New Agers out there who want nothing but to believe that there's ETs, definitely, but they're all hearts and flowers and good guys.
Right. Yes.
And this is such a dangerous thing to put out there, because again, you get humans that will not be able to protect themselves.
That's
and also not understand. Some people get the wrong idea about Camelot, but I'm actually in favor of the military. I know it sounds crazy, but I actually understand that we have a lot of military that are putting their lives on the line.
Yes. In
a daily basis to protect humans that have absolutely no idea that they're in danger.
You're right. Absolutely. I agree.
And that's got to change.
Yeah, it's got to change.
Yeah. So, I realize that people have no idea what a brave man you are.
Oh.
You are, I just wanted this statement made on my interview here, that the courage that it takes to actually do what you're doing right now is phenomenal. Really it is. See, I can get away with this because I'm a journalist and I can say anything and people will say, she's crazy, and just not listen. But someone with your stature, with your reputation and your documentation and where you were and where you come from and all of that, this is substantial. I don't think people can ignore you. I don't think they can.
Well, I sure hope they don't, because frankly, we need help.
Yeah.
We need everybody involved in this. That's not a lie. We need help.
Yes. But how is it that the humans are they do go down there? Are you saying that the ones that are allowed down there are Draco or Reptilian, or are you saying that they allow them to come and go because that's some kind of treaty or arrangement?
Well, it's just a arrangement between what was left of the SS and the people that are working in Germany on extraterrestrial vehicles. They have them in production.
Still.
Still.
Today.
And you went down there to clean that up, and you didn't win that battle. So there's still communication with even humans from here to Antarctica, and you have Draco reptilian guys running your governments of every country on your planet.
Of every government. There you go.
Wow.
That's quite a statement.
Does
that answer your question?
I'm sorry. It's not what we want to hear.
No.
I think all children should be eaten at birth. That's for sure.
Let me ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring. QAnon is nuts, and real leaders call conspiracy theories conspiracy theories.
He may be
Why not
right.
just say it's
Can I be
crazy
honest?
and not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you
all
another
about
thing.
it. Let's waste a whole show. You start off with white supremacy, I denounce it. You start off with something else, let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more in this vein.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia, and I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it very
But there's not a
strongly.
satanic pedophile
I have
cult
no
they run
idea.
by.
I know
You
nothing
don't
about
know that?
Human trafficking is a big business. It's a big deal. Dealing in children is a big deal. Children are probably the most harmed.
We believe the monsters who murder children should be put to death. We seem to have quite a good agreement on that. These people murder children, and they do it as slowly and viciously as possible. We will not allow these animals to terrorize our communities, and my administration will not rest until every member of MS-13 is brought to justice. We've done a great job with MS-13, but now we're stepping it up even to a higher level. This has never happened before. There's never been any move like this before. Much of it's already taken place, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it.
Human trafficking. Human trafficking is a big business. It's a big deal. Dealing in children is a big deal. Children are probably the most harmed. They grab them, they put tape over their mouth, they tie their hands, and they take them to another country. We have things happening that you don't want to even know about. And it's been that way for decades, and we can't have it.
Let's focus on the problem. Focus on this man, what he's doing, that no president has ever done. No president. I don't want you to have to stand all alone, but it's up to. By the way, he gave me permission to touch him. All right? I mean, QAnon. The idea that the Democrats or the Biden is hiding people and sucking the blood of children and no, I'm serious. Now you may not like me, and that's your right. Look, it's a simple thing. You can walk out and say, I just don't like the way that guy wears his tie. I'm voting against him. You have a right to do that. You have a right to do that. But the kinds of things that are being said of late, I think you're beginning to see some of the, and by Democrats as well, sort of the venom sort of leak out of a lot of it. We got to get beyond this. What do you say to your grandchildren or your children about what's happening? Do you ever remember a time like this before in the entire history?
I have seen wealthy, aristocratic white women ordering children of color on menus to be delivered dead, cooked on platters in a wing of the place they called Cannibal's Kitchen.
What happens in the church?
And we do baby sacrifice and eat the baby.
What do you mean sacrifice and eat the baby?
So we kill the baby and eat it and drink the blood from it.
Is that true, Gabriel?
Yes. And we dance with the skulls.
You what?
We dance with the skulls in the church.
What skulls?
Skulls of the baby.
Pardon?
Baby skulls. The skulls of the baby.
You dance with the baby skulls?
Yes.
And who kills the babies?
Papa, me, Elisa, and so.
Who kills the babies?
Papa.
And what, he gets you to help him?
Yes.
Does his usual crap. You know, they worship their gods, you know, Baal, Lucifer, hail Satan, son of the morning, and all the other gods and goddesses, you know. And then he has this knife and he slams it after he's done all his ritualistic sort of chanting and words and whatever, and people are chanting or whatever, and he slams this dagger, ceremonial dagger, 2 hands, into the woman's, I don't know, around about here where the bone ends, and he can get in, and he tears her open with the knife right down to the pelvic bone. And blood just pisses out everywhere. It's like a, waterfall and just everything.
We have to take steps to detoxify our discourse, particularly the scourge of disinformation and conspiracy theories and hate online that has polluted our political discourse.
Everything they teach you in school is a lie. You want the truth? The world is controlled by shadowy elites and shape-shifting lizard people.
Let's talk about reptoids. Be sure to follow these do's and don'ts to avoid a diplomatic incident. Do offer them a cricket, mouse, or vole out of your pocket. Fun fact about voles: a vole ate my father. Don't use loaded phrases like hissy fit or see you later, alligator.
Got it. Be respectful. So when do we talk about the orgies? Oh, come on. What? Everyone knows reptoids have orgies.
This is an HR meeting.
Andre, Mike, shut the hell up or I will castrate you.
Ha! Good luck figuring out which one of my tentacles is a dick. Trick question. It's all of them.
I'm deciding this is okay. Oh God, this is an orgy, isn't it?
Oh yes, yes it is. Oh, gavel. Give me the gavel. Give me the gavel.
This is it. It's happening. Oh, hello, HR. Who's ready for some gross misconduct?
I'm sorry, sir, but you tested positive for iguanorrhea.
Motherfucker!
I wasn't done. Iguanorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, scabies, explosive cloaca disease. Oh yeah, and mushroom herpes.
Wait, what was that last one?
Reagan, you're the life of this party. That's the most natural smile I've ever seen out of Mark Zuckerberg.
So the song Shake It Off was about how I shed my skin every 1,000 years. And the song Bad Blood was about how I drink blood out of my Grammys.
A toast to blood.
Save some blood for Paul Rudd. I gave you my kidney, and it was delicious. Reagan, meet my favorite reptoid zentitives, Barb Shrike and Zarthax Griswold Walton of the Reptoid High Council.
Good evening, your lizardness.
Oh, we're not that important. It's not like we control the world.
All rise for the Reptilian anthem.
Let's get down to business. We reptoids have had a great decade. Thanks to propaganda in the media, we have made society more tolerant of our kind, from the Geico gecko to the shape of water. We even got K-Rool in Smash! We did it, everyone! The world temperature is rising. The time is coming, brethren. Soon we shall fulfill the prophecy, overthrow humanity, and become the true rulers of the world!
They say that every year, but they're never gonna do it.
Trove that I attend from time to time. The Easterners and the others that come there. But it is the most faggy goddamn thing you will ever imagine. A San Francisco crowd that goes in there. It's just terrible.